G'day guys, it's your old pal Nick here from the Bulldog Fanatic YouTube channel, and in today's video we are reviewing the very disappointing loss the Bulldogs had against the Adelaide Crows in round 14 on Thursday Night Footy a while ago now. The Dogs lost to the Crows by 57 points on what was a pretty awful night at the footy to be a dog supporter while wearing the retro-styled candy-striped jersey. So, yeah. Let's get into it on what was a very disappointing game by the Doggies. So the Bulldogs lost 19-7, 121 to 9 goals, 10-64. A 57-point loss to the Adelaide Crows, headlined by Adelaide kicking 9 of the first 10 goals in the game, and they kicked 9 goals in the opening term. The Crows, it was just an absolute train wreck in that first quarter. It just like the way we were playing was just pathetic, it's just like it was so easy for the Crows, and they were just, and albeit the Crows did kick some really tough shots, we just made it too easy for them. It was just, they basically put the game away 20 minutes into the first quarter. Like we were slightly better after quarter time, but it didn't matter. It didn't really matter. The Crows had that big of a margin. It didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. So it was a very, very bad first quarter, and just like I knew the game was over 20 minutes into the game. So it was just, really flattening for the rest of the game. So, can't have that again. We can't have a quarter where we concede 9 goals in a quarter, especially in the first quarter, because that was truly bad to watch. Truly bad to watch. The players that really dominated for the Crows in that first quarter were Jordan Dawson, who had one of the best first quarters and one of the best games in general I've seen this year. He had 3 goals, had 9 disposals and 5 score involvements in that first quarter alone. He was just unstoppable. And Riley Philthorpe, I thought he was going to kick 10, for the whole game. When he kicked 3 in the first quarter, he just looked like he was going to mark everything. And the way the ball was being delivered inside the Crows 50 was just making him truly unstoppable against key defenders. So I really was scared of Riley Philthorpe kicking a bag. But we did change the matchup. It was James O'Donnell on Riley Philthorpe in the first quarter, and Philthorpe gave him a bloody buff, to say the least. But we switched Roy Lobb onto him, and he didn't kick a goal for the rest of the game. Just shows that we probably should have done that matchup at the start of the game. But anyway, Jordan Dawson was the best player on the ground by a country mile. He got 10 coaches votes and got an AFL player rating of 34.2, which is huge for Champion Data's player ratings. That's one of the best of the year and one of the best in recent years. So he really dominated us and really, took the piss there. It was, as a neutral fan, it was good to watch, but as a Doggies fan, it was very, very frustrating, to say the least. It's just the Dogs didn't come out with the right energy, They didn't come out with any physicality. The midfield, Adelaide waltzed through the midfield way too easily. Our team defense was absolutely non-existent in that first quarter, and the Crows just got so many goals way too easily, and they got way too many good looks going inside 50, and we punished that. The midfield physicality was non-existent, and our defenders exposed one-on-one, and it bit us back on the ass really, really badly. There weren't many winners on the ground for the Bulldogs. No Bulldog player got a coach's vote from either of the coaches, and deservedly so, because I can't really think of any match winners for the Dogs. It was just, it's just so frustrating, considering, we had just had an awesome second half the week before against Hawthorn, with our physicality and our resilience. When was that? It was none of that physicality in that first quarter, and really throughout the entire game. It was just truly disappointing to watch. But then again, it's the Bulldogs in the last 4 years. There's hope and there's disappointment. It's just a weekly cycle, isn't it, with this footy club? So I wasn't surprised that we lost, and I was just really disappointed with the lack of effort, especially in that first quarter. Come on, conceding 9 goals in the first quarter really set the crappy tone for the rest of the night, didn't it? Now, when it comes to the candy striped jerseys, I don't think we should ever wear them again. The candy striped jersey is not the reason why we lost, by the way. It has nothing to do with it all. But it is a bad omen, because it's a retro design jersey from the jersey we wore in the 1935 season. And the Bulldogs won 2 games that year, had 2 draws, and 16 losses. It was truly, truly horrific wearing that jersey in the 1935 season. So, we binned them, and then we wore it as a one-off for Heritage Round in 2003. And for context, in 2003, we won the Wooden Spoon that year. So, and we were playing against Essendon, who were actually good at the time. And we lost to the Bombers in that round, I think it was round 18, 2003, by 67 or 68 points. And Matthew Lloyd kicked 11 goals that day for Essendon. So, yeah. And then, obviously, we wore it again in our retro round on Thursday night, and we lost the Crows by 57. So, I think we should just bin the candy stripe jersey. I mean, I don't mind it from an aesthetic point of view. It's not the greatest Bulldog jersey ever, but it's not the worst. But I wouldn't wear it again. It's just clearly a bad omen. Bad omen, just leave it in the cabinet. Leave it in the closed cabinet. Or maybe just put it in the bin. I don't know. One of the two. Never to wear it again, Bulldogs. Never wear it again, please. It's becoming just a really weird season for the Dogs. Like, whenever we win, it's always close and it's always tantalizing. But whenever we lose, we just seem to get smashed. And that was probably one of our better teams we had on the park. The only notable best 23 players that we were missing were Bailey Williams, Sam Darcy, and Tom Liberatore. It was probably one of our strongest lineups of the year. And we were bad. We were very bad. It's just, I don't know. We had a chance to go into the top 4, if we had won. But classic Bulldogs, it seems like we're allergic to, being in the top 4 in any part of the season. It feels like, under Bevo. And classic Dogs, we underperformed massively. Now, I'm not saying Adelaide are bad. They are very good and they put on an absolute display. But I didn't expect to lose by that much and be that non-competitive. Yeah, our percentage is 90, so we got a terrible percentage. So it's going to be hard to make up that percentage. Even if we get a couple of big wins, it's just not going to be enough to compete, and jump over teams with percentage. So we're going to have to outwin against some teams if we're fighting for a top 6 spot or fighting to get in the wild card or get an elimination final or something. So the percentage took another hit, and let's hope we can rectify that against the Saints on Sunday. From a personnel experience, like from my experience, I went to the game with my dad, and the crowd was not great, only 22,000 or so, and the atmosphere was not good, to say the least. The atmosphere was just lacking, and yeah, it is a Thursday night. It's not a great time slot for crowds. It is made for television, but the point is, I'm saying is that it just set the tone badly. It seemed like a library Marvel Stadium at times. The Adelaide Crows fans were loud, but Ogies fans were stung silent, including me. I showed no emotion hardly through the game. I was just almost laughing just how bad that first quarter was. And I was just like, oh, what's the point? We're not going to win. So I may as well just not bother getting angry or excited whenever something good happens. And I left the game at 3/4 time because I couldn't be asked staying there to watch the last quarter. So yeah, I left the game early, and honestly, a good decision. I avoided the traffic on the train, so that's something. And yeah, it was just good for my own mental health to leave the game early because I was just like sick of it, and I was like, I'm just wasting my time here. So I made that decision, and I don't regret it. Final thoughts for this game, well, it's just another demoralizing loss, really. At least the positive is we got no injuries from the game, so hey, that's something. No injuries at all, which is nice, and we might regain Tom Liberatore back, who's finally cleared concussion protocols, and his knee injury is finally healed. So, good chance he comes back into the AFL this week, Tom Liberatore, which would be fantastic. So, we move on to the Saints. We play the Saints on Sunday, so we have, a 10-day break? Yeah, a 10-day break, which is probably a good thing because we're coming off 3 6-day breaks in a row. So, that's something at least. The boys should be freshened up and fired up, and I expect a much better performance on Sunday, our last game before the bye. If we put in a display like that against St Kilda like we did against Adelaide, oh boy, there'll be steam coming out of my veins. So anyways, guys, hope you enjoy the video. Let's hope we bounce back, because God help me, I'll be crashing out if we put on a display like that again. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy the video, and as always, go you mighty Bulldogs. See you next time.